Luke, welcome to the Leanpub launch video for Team Facilitation the Agile Way, run successful meetings with purpose and actionable outcomes. I was wondering if you could take a moment to talk to all of us a little bit about yourself and about your book and what it's about and who it's for.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for welcoming me onto the platform. It's really good to be here, Len. Um, my name's Luke Pivac. I have been working in agile project management for 15 years, approximately. In that time, I started out, and I've been on this platform to talk about it in the past, as a technical communicator, or what would people say, call a technical writer, writing things in plain English so people can understand them, especially in technology. So help files, FAQs, things like that. Um, I've worked in a number of startups, and during that time, I moved away from technical communication to more agile project management. And that was a slow process. But in that time, I used a lot of my technical writing skills in the past, writing pithy, meaningful reference guides and things like that into things that were of interest to me. So I started a blog, agility and servant leadership with things that come to mind that come to my strengths. And I focused on that. And as my projects have gotten bigger and more complex over the years, those core skills that I had have been more helpful to me and significant to others because it is all about going back to the key points why we're here. What's the point? What's the outcome we're trying to navigate through and get to? As a result, I have done a series of writing over the years to get to that point. One of them is agile facilitation the agile way, or team meetings. Sorry, team facilitation the agile way.
Mm-hmm.
And this book in particular is a practical guide for agile facilitators, scrum masters, and digital teams who want to run their meetings in more purposeful, engaging, and outcome driven way. And throughout my experience as working as a agile project manager, scrum master, and sometimes an agile coach, I picked up some skills to um, consolidate that into a practical book. Um, and it can be helpful because it's about, applying practical work with the agile mindset to work smarter. And that covers things from agile values to servant leadership and a structured facilitation, um, guardrails to apply. And um, whether it's big room planning or a daily stand up or a team meeting that involves a lot of engineers, there's something really practical to take away from this book.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things I like about this book and books like this is that, one way to look at them is that when you come across a challenge in your career, like let's say I've been a software developer and now I've got to lead meetings and stuff like that, or you're going from a startup to a bigger company, instead of the 10 people who all know each other, now it's 1,000 people and you need processes and procedures. One thing to know is that other people have been through it before. Other people have encountered failure and success facing those challenges. And there are things to know that other people out there do know, for example, about facilitating meetings and stuff like that. And you can learn it. You can learn it from books like this. There's no need to kind of reinvent the wheel every time. And so, for example, like the really practical things, like for example, how do you deal with absenteeism? People who kind of routinely don't show up or maybe just occasionally don't show up. This is a challenge that other people have faced before if you're facing it for the first time in your career. And there's like, there's a section in your book about that very specifically, which is really great. And one of the things I really like about, very practical thing about your approach is that there's kind of shared language and concepts around how to have meetings, like ELMO, for example. Can you talk just for a moment about what ELMO is?
And ELMO is a bit of a jokey way of saying enough said, let's move on. Sometimes there's sort of if with all best intentions, there's always going to be someone in there who may have arrived late. This is the problem with absenteeism or latecomers, is that you might have spoken your agenda, your team's warmed up, you're ready to get into it, and then someone will come in, and whether it's because there was a legitimate emergency and they just really had to come late, instead of rewinding back to it, you can circle back into it, and that's minimizing disruptions. So if you've sent that agenda out earlier enough and making sure that people are in
Yeah.
there, and if they are, arriving late, someone can probably brief them quickly. But what's really challenging is when you've got an agenda and someone will throw something in there that is completely unrelated to what we're talking about. And especially if you've got team agreements where people get up and go, what do you think success looks like? How can we frame this meeting, get the best outcomes? And most people would say, staying on topic. Everyone will indicate that that is clearly something you've got to do. If something's off topic, what can we do to address it? Let's park it. How about we write it down, make it a thing, and we'll address it either at the next meeting or at another meeting that we've got scheduled and we can facilitate later down the track. It's just that common courtesy and getting those team agreements in line. It can avoid disruption, so you can maximize the benefits of what you need to get in that meeting. And I call them containers, whether that's some kind of an emotional sort of metaphor, but it's, as a facilitator, you've got to provide this container, and we need to agree as a team what we need to fill that container up, i.e. content. And basically from that, how are we going to shape that content into something meaningful? And to do that, you kind of got to have a shared understanding, shared language, and a shared space for the way people can bring their best selves, their authentic selves, in a safe environment, but pay respect to others and what they have to contribute to that process as well.
Well, if you're interested in learning this shared language and some of these shared concepts and this wisdom and learning more about what Luke has to say about particularly facilitating meetings and stuff like that, this is a really great book. It's Team Facilitation the Agile Way, Run Successful Meetings with Purpose and Actionable Outcomes. The book is written as clearly and effectively as Luke just spoke during this video. So I definitely recommend it to everyone who's interested in learning more about this.
Thank you so much for your time. And good luck, viewers. If you need any help or advice, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And
Awesome.
yeah, have a great read.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay.